Give a 5-year-old a cardboard box, and within minutes, it's a spaceship, a castle, a submarine, a secret hideout. Give an adult the same box, and most will ask what it's for. Somewhere between those two moments, something got lost. And the strange part is it wasn't talent. It was permission. Think about the last time you tried to come up with an idea on command. A gift for someone, a caption for a photo, a solution to a problem at work. Your mind probably went blank first, then reached for the most obvious answer available, the one everyone else would think of too. That's not a lack of creativity. That's what creativity looks like after years of being quietly trained out of you. In the 1960s, a researcher named George Land was asked to help NASA design a test that could identify highly innovative engineers and scientists, people capable of genuinely original thinking. The test worked so well that Land decided to try something unusual with it. He gave the same test to 1,600 children, then retested the same group again at age 10, again at 15, and again as adults. The results were staggering. At 5 years old, 98% of the children scored at what the test defined as genius level for divergent thinking, the ability to generate many different original solutions to a single problem. By age 10, that number had dropped to 30%. By 15, it was down to 12%. By adulthood, only about 2% of the same population still scored at that level. The children hadn't lost the raw wiring for creative thought. Land's own conclusion was blunt. He argued that what actually happened wasn't a decline in creative capacity, but the slow accumulation of learned, non-creative behavior, mostly through education systems and social environments that consistently rewarded the one right answer over the many possible ones. This makes sense once you understand why creativity even exists as a trait in the first place. For most of human history, generating multiple possible solutions to a problem, instead of freezing on the first one, was a survival advantage. Which plant is actually safe to eat? Which route around a threat might work? Which combination of materials might build better shelter? Evolution favored minds that could branch, imagine alternatives, and play with possibility, because a single rigid answer often meant death when the environment shifted. But somewhere along the way, especially once formal schooling and structured environments took over childhood development, that branching instinct started getting pruned. Not maliciously, efficiently. Systems that need to grade, rank, and standardize naturally reward convergent thinking, the ability to find a one correct answer quickly, because it's measurable. Divergent thinking, the messy, wandering box becomes a spaceship kind of thought, doesn't fit neatly into a rubric, so it quietly gets deprioritized year after year until it nearly disappears. Here's the part that should give you hope instead of dread. If creativity is trained out through repetition and reward patterns, it can also be trained back in the exact same way. It's not a fixed trait you either have or don't. It's closer to a muscle that atrophied from disuse, not one that was surgically removed. So how do you actually retrain it? Start by deliberately generating more than one answer, every time, even for small decisions. When you're picking a restaurant, a wording, a solution to a minor problem, force yourself to list 3 options before choosing, instead of grabbing the first idea that shows up. This single habit directly rebuilds divergent thinking, because you're practicing the branching instinct instead of letting it atrophy further. Second, deliberately expose yourself to unrelated fields. Original ideas rarely come from staring harder at the same problem. They usually come from connecting 2 things that were never in the same room before. Reading outside your industry, talking to people in unrelated careers, or studying a completely different subject gives your brain more raw material to recombine later, often without you even noticing the connection forming. Third, protect boredom instead of eliminating it. Constant stimulation, scrolling, background noise, notifications, keeps your brain in reactive mode, responding to input rather than generating it. Some of the most consistently reported bursts of creative insight happen during quiet, understimulated moments, in the shower, on a walk, right before sleep, precisely because that's when your mind finally has room to wander and connect ideas on its own. Fourth, lower the bar for what counts as a first attempt. Perfectionism is one of the fastest ways to strangle creative output because it demands the finished, polished answer before you've even explored the rough, weird, possibly bad ones. Every genuinely original idea usually sits downstream of several forgettable ones. Skipping the bad ideas doesn't get you to the good ones faster. It usually just gets you to nothing at all. And finally, revisit the question itself, not just the answer. Often what blocks a creative solution isn't a lack of ideas. It's a poorly framed problem. Before searching harder for an answer, try rewriting the question 3 different ways. Sometimes the breakthrough isn't a better answer. It's a better question you hadn't thought to ask yet. None of this requires talent you weren't born with. It requires undoing years of training that quietly rewarded the safe, obvious, singular answer over the messy, branching, original one. The 5-year-old with the cardboard box wasn't more gifted than you. They just hadn't yet learned that the box was only supposed to be a box. You still have that wiring in you. It didn't disappear. It's just waiting for permission to come back online.